I think we got one. Nah, I hear you.
Hey, spiffy little Kenny man. Hey, out in the morning trying to get to it. I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Out in the morning trying to get to it. I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner.
Hey, it's FYF Sports, man. It's Lamont. We back with another podcast episode. Hey, the first episode of 2021, and it's coming to you in special edition format. You know, I thought this video was so special that what we're doing right now is we're gonna allow the video to play live, right? And as soon as this video over, we're transitioning immediately into the live show to discuss what we spoke about in this video. Obviously, this topic right here, you guys seen the title of the video. We're talking about Allen Iverson and Steph Curry, two of the greatest point guards ever to play the game of basketball. So I just thought with this topic right here, you know, is no better way to present the video and then just transition immediately into the live as soon as this video is done playing. So don't go anywhere when the video is over. Stick around. If you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, just about my perspective on this, about the analytics, about the stats that we use to come to the conclusion that we came to here at FYF Sports, make sure you stick around, join the live chat, hop on the live panel. Make sure you hop in on that live panel. Again, if you have anything, you know, any facts, any stats, any questions that you have for the panel or just for me directly, make sure you stick around to do that. So this is going to be an epic live stream. So again, this is how we coming in 2021. But before we get started, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you haven't done so already. It's 2021. We grinding. I mean, it's a new goal. It's not just 20K. I mean, the goal is to get to 100K by all means necessary. By all means necessary. So again, like, comment, share the video. Support the channel if need be. We got the first annual FYF Sports Community Basketball event coming up in July 2021, Indianapolis, Indiana. We're getting all of the details hashed out for that. So again, if you can hoop, if you can play on a competitive level, hit us up, business@fyfsports.com. Man, we gonna check you out, man. Maybe you can be suited for one of the rosters. We can throw you on one of the rosters because it's not just gonna be a celebrity game or influencer game. We opening the roster up for subscribers as well. So we open it up for everybody. You guys do the most talking, so we want to see what you guys can do on the court as well, just to kind of back it up. But today we got a special video. I know in our live streams yesterday we kind of dove into this topic: Allen Iverson and Steph Curry. Who's the better of the 2-point guards? And I just think there are so many angles that you can look at this from. So what we're going to be doing today here at FYF Sports, man, we're gonna break down both the two players. We're gonna break down Steph Curry, what he brings to the game of basketball. We're gonna break down Allen Iverson, same thing with him. We're going to do our comparisons as far as the stats, the success, the team success, everything, the analytics, and then we're going to come to at least our conclusion of who's the better overall point guard when it comes down to where you're going to be placed in NBA history. And we'll try to be as fair as possible when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, I don't want anybody to think that when I drop this video is any shots to Steph Curry. I don't want anybody to think is any shots to Allen Iverson. At the end of the day, these are both two of the greatest point guards that we've seen in NBA history. Again, when we're debating who's the better of the two, we got to start really getting to the finer details, breaking down their games, breaking down them as people on the court. And again, what I try to do and what I will always do is anything off the court, I try to keep it out because that just brings too many biases in. So any off the court issues, whether it's Iverson, whether it's Curry, all of those things are separate from how you played on the basketball court. So that's how we're going to be breaking it down today here at FYF Sports. Again, if you guys haven't done so already, and you know, before we start with this video, you know, when we talk about basketball, we definitely got to talk about our show sponsor, MANSCAPED, y'all. All right, y'all see the promo when it scrolls up on the screen, but are y'all really taking advantage of manscaped.com? All right, all your below the waist grooming tools at manscaped.com, and it's more affordable than ever with the 20% off with free shipping code FYF crew. Just go use it. I mean, it don't matter whether you're just buying the Lawnmower 3.0, whether you're just buying the ball deodorant or the ball spritz. I mean, it's something that every man can use on this site. You know, we all sweat, we all going to work every day. All right. We all have significant others that we are trying to come home to, and when we hop out the shower, you want to be as fresh as possible. You want to be ready for any moment. So make sure you are going to manscaped.com for all your below the waist grooming tools. All right, that's the only place you need to be going. And I'm telling you right now, I've tried the Lawnmower 3.0, and I'm not gonna lie, it definitely works really well. I mean, you can use it on chest hairs, you can use it below the waist. I mean, whatever you see fit, you can use this tool to clean yourself up, get all your grooming needs in, and to get all that together, man. So your significant other has no complaints. So make sure you guys are checking out manscaped.com. All right, but we're going to get to this right here, man. We got Allen Iverson, Steph Curry. Before we start going into the stats, man, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give an honest assessment and breakdown of each player. So we're going to go to the drawing board. First thing we're going to do is break down each individual player. I'll try to be as fair as possible. We're going to go to the stats, the analytics, and then I'm going to go to the statistic that I think really determines who is the better player overall. There's one statistic that I think a lot of people who really don't understand basketball, or a lot of people who either have biases towards either one era or generation or one player because of the style of play, I think this one individual stat separates the two players by a big margin. And I think this is why I came down to the conclusion that we did here at FYF Sports. But we're going to go ahead and get over to the drawing board now to start breaking down the facts on Allen Iverson and Steph Curry. All right, first up, we got Steph Curry, man. Point guard, out of North Carolina. The man attended Davidson College from 2006 to 2009, man. After he lit up the college world, man, he entered the NBA as the number 7 pick in the 2009 NBA draft, man. This man, early on in his career, Steph Curry struggled. And he struggled not just because of the ankle injuries, but he struggled tactically. He had all of the skills to be an all-time great player. I just don't think he actually knew it. All right. When Steph Curry and when he figured out that stepping a few steps back to shoot the three was going to be more valuable than taking a lot of mid-range shots, which is what he did early on in his career, that's what helped him turn from a good NBA player to an all-time great NBA player. So when he weaponized the three-point line to a lethal degree, teams did not just know how to guard him, but they did not know how to guard the spacing. It elevated the play of others around him. It made not just him better, it made his teams better, and elevated his teams to a lot of success, man. This guy, was shooting about 46% from the field in mid-range and tough shots. When he's able to step back to shoot the three, he's still shooting 40%. So essentially, he's shooting long two-pointers at the same clip that he's shooting long three-pointers. This is why he was able to step back, dance, weaponize the three-point line. And what Steph Curry did better than any other NBA player is he weaponized the three-point line to such a degree that it allowed him to enhance his abilities as far as attacking the rim and becoming a playmaker. All right. Not only does he have a great handle, not only will he go down as the greatest three-point shooter of all time, but what he's been able to do with his three-point shot is what's even more amazing. He's weaponized it to a degree that he's become one of the best playmakers of this game. You have to respect everything that he does beyond the three-point line, because with such a quick release, he can unleash and catch fire on you, and then there's no bouncing back from that. And obviously, we know what he's done with the Golden State Warriors, leading them to 5 NBA Finals, 3 NBA championships. Over this past decade, he's completely torched the NBA, you know, with nicknames like the Babyface Assassin, with nicknames like Threeses. You know, man, this man, again, he's changed the way basketball is played. He's changed the way teams defend in the NBA. All right. And he's made winning, his style of play has been so contagious, it attracted the likes of a guy like Kevin Durant to come play and help elevate that team even more. So again, for, you know, when you're talking about a guard who's 6'3", 180, 85 pounds, you know, coming out of a college like Davidson. I mean, when you run down his list of accolades, 3-time NBA champion, two-time MVP of the league, the only player to ever be the unanimous MVP of the league, 6-time NBA All-Star, and he's still playing, so that's probably going to be more than 6. 3 All-NBA first teams, 2 All-NBA second teams, 1 All-NBA third team. He's been the scoring champion in 2016, steals leader in 2016. He's a member of the 50, 40, 90 club, a very small club at that. He won the NBA three-point contest 2015, all-rookie team, all-rookie first team at that in 2010, AP Athlete of the Year in 2015. I mean, this man, and that's not even counting what he did in college. I mean, consensus first team All-American 09, consensus second team All-American in 08. He was the NCAA scoring leader in 2009. And he was the SoCon 2-time player of the year in 2008 and 2009. Steph Curry's basketball career can be unmatched by any other point guard, especially when you're including college as well. So when you look at everything he's done, when you look at his skill set, when you look at how he was able to weaponize his primary skill set to become elite in other skill sets, I think this is what makes Steph Curry one of the most elite point guards that we've ever seen in NBA history. Allen Iverson, man, born June 7, 1975, nicknamed The Answer and AI. You know, he's an all-American basketball player in all regards, man. You know, he's well regarded as one of the greatest and, most importantly, most influential basketball players of all time. All right, he played 14 seasons in the NBA at both shooting guard and point guard. Iverson was an 11-time All-Star. You know, not just an 11-time All-Star. He won the All-Star Game MVP in 2001 and 2005 and was the NBA's most valuable player in 2001. You know, he was introduced already into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 2016. Man, now the man stood at 6 feet tall. And most people who've seen him in person say he was closer to 5'10", 5'11". But as recorded, at 6 feet tall, 165 pounds, he's probably pound for pound. I mean, when you look at his size, you know, and how small he was. When you look at some of the smaller guards in the leagues, the Muggsy Bogues, these guys, he's probably the greatest, one of the greatest smaller guards that we've ever seen in NBA history. He was drafted out of Georgetown in 1996. He was the number 1 pick overall to the Philadelphia 76ers, and that's where he started doing the bulk of his damage in the NBA with the Philadelphia 76ers. He played with them from 96 to 2006 before he moved on to a few other teams. But man, when you run down his entire jacket, man, just as I did earlier, when you say that he's a 4-time scoring champion at 6 foot tall, 165 pounds, when he led the NBA in steals 3 times, you know, as I mentioned before, 11-time NBA All-Star, 3-time All-NBA first team, 3 All-NBA second team, made the All-NBA third team 1 time. He was the Rookie of the Year when he came into the league. The NBA Rookie Game MVP. I mean, the man, you know, even coming out of college, you know, just like, you know, he was the first team parade All-American in 93. You know, and surprisingly, and a lot of people don't know this, surprisingly, he was the 2-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year in college in 95 and 96. Consistent first team All-American in 96. The man's jersey has already been retired by the Philadelphia 76ers, man. He's amassed over 24,000 points in the NBA career. I mean, just ridiculous some of the accomplishments that this man was able to produce in the NBA at that size. All right, he's well known for leading the 76ers to the NBA Finals in 2001. A team that a lot of people said really lacked talent. But this guy Iverson, man, you talk about explosive. This man was explosive. Easily the most explosive player that we've ever seen in the NBA. Easily the most explosive player that we've ever seen in the NBA. Primarily due to his quickness. By any NBA player that actually played against Allen Iverson will tell you he's probably the fastest player that they've ever seen. He reinvented the crossover. We know Tim Hardaway initially created the crossover, but when you talk about a player who perfected it, Allen Iverson perfected the crossover. And one of Iverson's primary skill set was his stop and go speed. So, it's one thing to have speed, and there are a lot of players that come into the NBA with just pure speed, but with the ability to decelerate and accelerate with ultimate quickness, I think that's what changed the game. It gave him an amazing ability to create separation, to get his mid-range shot off, or to get to the rim at any time. And most famously, as we see here, crossover on Michael Jordan. This crossover will never be forgotten. And when this crossover happened right here, it woke the league up and said, it's a new era. It's a new day for the NBA. When you guys cannot hand check, you guys can't defend. All right. And basically, and when we say cultural, that crossover right there, especially when you're able to cross over a great like Michael Jordan, of course, is going to have a large cultural impact. Iverson with the braids, with the headbands, with the flashy clothes and jewelry in the press conferences, changed the NBA dress code. Famous for saying, "What about practice?" I mean, what can we say? You really can't say too much. The man changed the game of basketball, especially culturally. I mean, as you can see right here, walking into the game with the Eagles jersey on, with the bandana on his head. This is, he didn't care about the rules. He didn't care about the status quo. And I think this is why he's so beloved by so many people on and off the basketball court. All right, because he didn't care. All right, and he didn't capitulate to what the media or what the man wanted to see, man. He was always himself. All right, he always did things his way, and he even went out his way. The one thing that Iverson didn't want to do is he never wanted to relegate himself to the role of being a bench player. And this is why he had a hard time. This is why his career was ended at 14 years, even though he was still an elite player. He played his last year over in Turkey, because he was not willing to accept a deferred role in the NBA as anything other than the best player and the best scorer on an NBA team. So, I mean, we got Allen Iverson, one of the greatest little men in NBA history, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. To do what he did in 2001, lead the Sixers to the NBA Finals to take on the Los Angeles Lakers, was one of the greatest accomplishments that we've seen. This is why you can't put too much into winning championships, just to get a team there. And when you see a Goliath in a Lake and a Kobe and Shaq led team, and Iverson's taking them on, giving them 30 points a game in the finals, even though they were ousted 4-1 by the Los Angeles Lakers, this man Iverson put up a fight. He definitely put up a fight, and I gotta applaud that. All right, so he had a lot of playoff failures, but we always are gonna remember Allen Iverson for leading this team to the NBA Finals. I mean, there we have it right there. Allen Iverson, Steph Curry. I mean, two of the greatest guards of all time. And and it's hard to even see the one thing about these two guards before we even go into the stats and the numbers and all of that. One thing I want to say about these two guards is that it's hard to relegate these two guards to any particular position. We've seen Steph Curry be more of the shooting guard type. We've seen him transition and be more of the point guard type. Similar with Allen Iverson. Even though he struggled with playmaking, we've seen Allen Iverson try, be a decent playmaker at times. We've seen him play the point. We've seen him play the two. So again, that's why I like to just say guards. These are two of the greatest guards of all time that we've seen. And I hate that we just have to relegate them both to point guard position, because at the end of the day, these are not your traditional point guards. when you look back on the 90s and you're talking about guards like John Stockton, Gary Payton, more pass-oriented guards, looking to set guys up, looking to get your offense started. These two guys were the engine to your offense. These were the go-to scorers. All right. And this is what changed. This is, Allen Iverson opened the door up for this change. And then, Steph Curry evolved the game into something that we completely never even imagined. And the best thing about these two guards, and this is why I even like having this conversation, is that both of these guards were extremely relatable. I mean, whenever you're 5'10", 6 foot tall, even 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", whenever you're a small guard, it's more so easier. It's easier for us, us to relate to him. Not everybody can be blessed with being 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 7 foot or taller. I mean, those guys, what Shaq did, although it was awesome dominance, it's not necessarily relatable to the everyday person. The everyday person, a lot of these guys, a lot of you guys can't even dunk a basketball. So when we can see guys like Allen Iverson get to the rim and finish among the Giants, with very, very highly contested layups. And the same thing with Steph Curry, a magician with the ball who can not only get to the rim with a beautiful handle, but he can launch threes from 4 to 5 feet behind the 3-point line and make it look like it's easy. These are all things that we can replicate. These are all things that we can actually replicate on the court ourselves with practice over time, but it looks more possible. Although shooting like Steph Curry or attacking the rim like Iverson is probably not possible for most of us, it's something that's within reach if we actually put in the work, especially if you're one of these young players really studying the game. All right, if you're a young player studying the game, there's no promise that you're gonna grow to 6'10". All right, but what you can do is watching these two guards play. What you can do is you can see that if you put in the work, all right, if you stay dedicated to your craft, there's always a way to the league. There's always a path to be great at whatever you're working on. So, like I said, I know we're critiquing these two players. We're going to have to look at the negative and positive aspects of both of their games. All right. But I do want to say that about both of them is that at their size, they did what a lot of people couldn't do, because when you're 6 foot tall, it's easy to give up on the game of basketball because, for one, coaches aren't looking to the 6 foot guy. The 6 foot guys come a dime a dozen. Coaches aren't looking at the guys that are 6'1" or 6'2". Those guys come dime a dozen. Coaches are really looking at the 6'6", 6'7", 6'9", 6'10" kids. All right, because those are the unicorns. Those are the more rare finds, especially if they're gifted. So when you're able to stand out from the crowd, you're 6 foot to 6'2", 6'3". All right, when you can do these things against some of the greatest players that we've ever seen, you gotta respect both of these players. So I just wanted to say that about these two players before we get into it. So we got Steph Curry and we got Allen Iverson, man. Steph Curry, he's still playing. All right, so we don't know what his career could come out to be, but we got to judge what he's done so far. He's 31 years old. Allen Iverson played from 1997 to 2010. That seems like a short career for a guy like Iverson. All right, 13 years in the league, then 1 year over in Turkey. I mean, I wish we could have seen this guy play 15 to 17 years. All right, but usually after 13, 14 years, you have to defer. You have to defer to a lesser role on the bench unless you're named LeBron. And Iverson, similar to other NBA greats like Chris Webber, they did not want to sacrifice. They did not want to change their roles. They didn't want to see themselves relegated to a bench role like that. I mean, we've seen all-time greats like Carmelo Anthony. He's now been reduced to a bench player, not because he's not great, because at this stage in his career, that's what he can give to the game. And if you love the game, if you appreciate the game enough, then maybe you can humble yourself to do that. And some players can, some players can't. I think with Iverson, towards the end of his career, I think he struggled with accepting that he wasn't the same guy. All right. But Iverson struggles. I think Iverson, even in his 13th and 14th year, I think Iverson still could have been prime Iverson had he taken the time to dedicate himself more to the craft, which means working harder in practice, working harder in the gym, staying injury free, all right, being a better teammate. Some of these things right here with regards to Allen Iverson, I think this is what kind of took away from how great his career could have been. And we're going to go over that right here. When we go to NBA championship seasons, right, obviously Steph Curry with 3. All right. And a lot of people are going to credit that to Kevin Durant, those 2 championships. But at the end of the day, even if you take away those 2 championships, Steph Curry still led a team not just to the NBA Finals, but to the NBA championship and won without a Kevin Durant. And you know, regardless of who he played, when he got there, he got the job done. So as unfortunate as it is for Allen Iverson to get to the finals and then have to see a Shaq and Kobe on the other end, I mean, he's not the only one to see a mountain when he gets to the finals and overcome it. We saw Dirk Nowitzki. He got to the finals. He had a mountain to climb to get over the Miami Heat. And he was able to overcome. It's just about overcoming when you get there. And this is what makes great players. This is what separates them and puts them in that next echelon of players. So for Iverson to only get to 1 NBA final in his career, I gotta hold that against Iverson right there. Your ability to get there and give your team an opportunity to win it all, it means something. Steph Curry edges Allen Iverson there. NBA seasons. Now Steph Curry's going into his 12th year. The way it's looking right now, the way NBA players play now, it's looking like Steph Curry's he's easily going to go into, 15 to 17 years in the league if he can stay healthy. Iverson's career, again, wasn't derailed because of injury or anything like that. His career was derailed because he didn't want to accept a reduced role on the bench for NBA teams. All right. And again, he was still great in year 13. He was still great in year 14. But he wasn't great as the number 1 go-to guy for an NBA team. All right, so I wish Iverson could have stuck around in NBA and could have got that curtain call. He could have gotten the exit that he deserved. He never got the retirement tour. You know, when we see guys how Kobe went out, when we see how some of the greats really went out, when you do it the right way, like D Wade, I would have loved to see Iverson kind of go out like that, or maybe even go back and sign with the Philadelphia 76ers and retire as a 76er, something like that, man. But just see a better way to exit out the game, because he gave the game so much. He deserved to go out a bit more gracefully than what he did. All right, so in playoffs, Steph Curry's made the playoffs 7 years. Allen Iverson made the playoffs 8 years. And again, Steph Curry's been to the NBA Finals. So out of the 7 times Steph Curry's been into the playoffs, he's made it to the NBA Finals 5 times. You know, Allen Iverson only 1. I gotta hold that against you. All-Star game, Steph Curry 6. Allen Iverson 11. Again, Allen Iverson was always going to be an All-Star game. He was a fan favorite. He wasn't, the NBA didn't like him. Some of the things that he did weren't very popular with the NBA, and I'm really glad that the social media area wasn't as popping as it is now. I think Iverson would have ran into a few bumps in the wall in his career. Season MVP, Steph Curry has 2. Steph Curry, I got to give Steph Curry credit for being the first unanimous MVP of all time. So say what you want about Steph Curry, but Michael Jordan didn't do it. Wilt didn't do it. Kareem didn't do it. Steph Curry was the first unanimous MVP of all time in the NBA. Now, a lot of people, you can say he didn't deserve it. You can, as much as we try to diminish that accomplishment right there, it's a big deal. You can try to diminish it. At the end of the day, being the first unanimous MVP, that means you play so well. Even all your haters have to, I'm sure not all the media members love Steph Curry. I'm sure there was a media member out there that said, you know what, I'm going to give this vote to Kobe. I'm going to give this vote to LeBron. Nope. They gave all the votes to Steph Curry. That says something. Steph Curry, 2 MVPs, back-to-back MVP. Iverson 1 in 2001. Steph Curry gets the edge there. I mean, he was definitely great. All NBA first team, 3 for Steph Curry, 3 for Iverson. All NBA team selections, 6 for Curry, 7 for Iverson. So Iverson, he half of his career he was off the first team. The other half of his career He was on it. That's about the exact same rate going for Steph Curry. And Steph Curry started his career off a little bit slower. It took him a little bit more time to adjust to NBA as opposed to Allen Iverson, who was able to hit the ground running. So when you compare the starts to their careers is going to look a little bit different, but it's not necessarily about the start to your career. All right, when we're judging two players, I can't judge you off 1/4 of your career. I have to judge everything. We got to look at the middle, and we got to look at how it panned out. All right, and when we put it all together, it looks like Steph Curry might take the slight edge. Scoring leader, Steph Curry's been the scoring leader 1 time. Iverson, scoring leader 4 times. When you're just talking about scoring the ball, I don't care how many shots you take to get there. I don't care how efficient you are. Iverson is the far superior just scorer. All right, he just can score the ball. He might not do it the way you want to see. It's not going to be balanced. It's going to be a lot of mid-range pull-ups. It's going to be a lot of attacking the basket. It's going to be a lot of free throws. But Iverson knows, and he has a knack to score the ball. He's just great at it. All right, and he loved to score, but he also loved to score so much so that became a detriment. When you had Chris Webber, his teammate in Philadelphia even went as far as saying he loved to score the ball so much that it just started to become a detriment to others around him. And as I said earlier when I was breaking down Steph Curry's highlights, Steph Curry's offense, I think his 3-point shot became so lethal that he weaponized it to the degree that it made him a better playmaker for others. So at the end of the day, if we're just sticking with scoring, I got to give the edge to Allen Iverson. He was the far better scorer. Allen Iverson led the league 3 times in steals. Steph Curry led the league 1 time in steals. Now, for me, I've always been an advocate of just because you lead the league in steals, and this is one of those categories that can be very, very tricky to decipher. A lot of people would see that Allen Iverson led the league in steals 3 times, and then would just make the determination that he was a great defensive player. And I gotta beg to differ on this one. Allen Iverson was not a great defensive player, unfortunately. The best thing in this particular argument that Iverson has going for him is that also Steph Curry is not the greatest defensive player either. All right, so when it comes to defense, I have to defer to the team. Because at the end of the day, when Iverson has some great defensive teams, and he had one of the greatest defensive coaches of all time in Larry Brown. Also with George Karl in Denver. They both had great defensive teams, but if you're talking about individual defenders, I'm going to have to say it's a wash, to be fair, because I don't think there's any real way for us to determine who's the better defender. But I think it's because when you ask a player to do so much on the offensive end of the court, especially in Iverson's situation, I can't ask you to also be elite on the defensive end of the court. You got to be a little give or take in one of those. So again, it has to be a wash there. I have to be fair there. I can't say that Curry's the better defender. I can't say Iverson's the better defender. They both. The only edge I would give to Curry is that he gives effort a little bit more than Iverson. But other than that, there's really no real measuring stick for measurement or for effort. So you just have to play the eye test, and the eye test will tell you that teams had to hide both of them. And also, you got to look at their size. These are both small and slight guards. They can get overpowered or towered over by most NBA players. So that's going to be a detriment to your defensive acumen as well. So I'll say defense is a wash as well for both players, just to be fair, because I don't think there's any real measuring stick to determine who's better. So next up, the start to their seasons. Allen Iverson was Rookie of the Year. Steph Curry wasn't. Allen Iverson, again, as I said before, he hit the ground running when he started. He started his career off better. His first 4 years were much better than Steph Curry's first 4 years. So we know Steph Curry's first 4 years were filled with ankle injuries, inconsistent play, a few, different coaches. So that played a lot into that. But at the end of the day, Iverson deserved that Rookie of the Year. As far as how they started their careers, Allen Iverson started his career off much better than Steph Curry, primarily due to health. And then he was just a more consistent player. Now, The one thing that I would have hoped for out of Iverson's career is if he would have found a way to take it to the next level and elevate. I think once Iverson hit a peak, he kind of stayed at that peak and just flatlined at that peak. I never saw Allen Iverson. You can say in 2001 he kind of spiked it a little bit when he put an uptick into his work ethic off the court. But other than that, we got to say that Iverson hit a peak, going into like the his fourth year in the NBA, and it just kind of mellowed out from there. He just stayed at that same great level. We never seen him take it up an extra notch to really push his team over the edge. All right, so we got regular season stats. Regular season stats right here. Steph Curry, 23 points a game. Iverson, 26. Not really much difference there, just 3 points. I don't really play into that. I would say I would have to give the edge, again, points per game. That's always going to go to Iverson. He just knew how to score. Rebounds per game, Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the far superior rebounder. What I'll give to Iverson though is that Steph Curry has the benefit of playing in an era where far more threes are shot, and when far more 3-point shots are taken, that gives guards like Steph Curry an opportunity for more rebounds. 3-point shots usually do what? They usually go long, and they usually fall into the hands of guards. This is how Russell Westbrook is able to collect a lot of rebounds. Same with Lonzo Ball and all of the great guards in this league who can actually rebound at an elite level. So but I still have to get at the end of the day, a rebound's a rebound. Have to give the edge to rebounding to Steph Curry. Assists per game, even though assists per game are the same. Steph Curry, in my eyes, is the better playmaker. He's the better passer. He's the better playmaker. Far superior. I don't think it's close. All right. I think Iverson got assists by default. I think, and again, not trying to throw shade at Iverson, but he was so much so of a great scorer that passing was the last thing on his mind. All right. I think he passed when he had to, when he was stopped, not because he was really trying to create for others. I think if Iverson would have found a way to evolve his game like Curry did, weaponize his offensive skill sets to make him a better playmaker, he could have been one of the most elite and electrifying playmakers that we've ever seen in NBA history. All right, blocks per game, obviously that's a wash. We're dealing with two small guards. No need to talk about that right there. Obviously, we got overall stats. Overall stats really don't tell much with these two players, primarily because Steph Curry's still playing. And the overall stats really don't give you a clear indication of who's better at what. But percentages do. That's why we scroll down to percentages. All right, Steph Curry, field goal percentage, 47%. Iverson, 42%. Now, one thing we have to say about Iverson is, again, Iverson took more mid-range shots and layups. So he took less difficult shots and made them at a lower clip. Iverson was what you call a high volume shooter and scorer. He needs a lot of shots to get to his points. I don't knock him for that because that was his role in most systems. When he was in Denver, when he was in Philly, that was his role. He needed to be a high volume scorer. They didn't ask him to come in and be a playmaker. They didn't ask him to come in and do anything else but be the best scorer in the NBA, and that's what he did at an elite level. Unfortunately, it goes to his efficiency. He was not very efficient. All right, with his size, having to go up against giants, play in and play out, it's going to take a toll on your efficiency, at least for Iverson. With regards to Curry, we told you what Steph Curry did. This is why his efficiency and this is why his percentages shot through the roof. Instead of taking those mid-range shots like Allen Iverson was taking, he found out if I step back, I can shoot these same shots at the same percentage from the three-point line, space the floor, and then now I can weaponize one of my best offensive weapons and allow me to either get to the basket for layups, another high percentage shot, or I can play make for others, which is why he was a better passer and playmaker. All right, three-point shooting, Steph Curry shot the three. He's 43% for his career from the three-point line. Astronomically high to shoot that level, especially for how many threes he shoots. So Steph Curry shoots a lot of threes at extremely high percentage. Allen Iverson only 31% on his career. When you go free throw shooting, Steph Curry, one of the most elite free throw shooters that we've seen in the game. Iverson, for as many free throws as he shot, who knows how many points he could have scored in his career if he shot it better from the free throw line. Curry 90% from the free throw line. Iverson only 78, which 78 is not bad. That's about average in the NBA. But then average from the free throw line is not acceptable when you're a superstar, especially when you're a guard that shoots the ball a lot. You got to be better than that. All right, so we got to hold that against Iverson. 78% from the free throw line, he definitely could have been better. All right, when we look at their best seasons, scoring-wise, Iverson's best season in 2006, 33 points a game. Steph Curry, 30 in 2016 in another MVP campaign. Rebounds per game, Steph Curry at 5.4, Iverson 4.9. Assists per game, Steph Curry 8.5, Iverson 0.5. Surprising, that's a really high number for Iverson, 7.9. Steals per game, Iverson has the edge right there at 2.8. You got to give that to Iverson. That's tough to do. 2.8 steals per game. That's a solid number. 2.1 for Iverson. But again, I felt defense was a wash. We don't really have a real measuring stick because both of these guys are asked to do a lot. On the offensive end of the court, blocks per game is a washed stat, man. When we look at the playoff stats, man, Allen Iverson, man, he's averaging 29 a game in the playoffs. All right. For all of the failures that Iverson's had in the playoffs, the one thing that you got to give this man is that he will score the ball for you. He will get it done. Is it so much so that it's a detriment to the team? Well, probably so, because he's had a lot of first round exits. He's had a lot of second round exits. And when he got to the NBA Finals, albeit just one time, he did not succeed then either. Steph Curry, 26 a game. Again, another 3-point difference right there. But that 3-point difference doesn't mean as much when you look at Steph Curry's efficiency. He's getting to his 26 points in far less shots and in a far more efficient manner with far less turnovers. Again, it's hard to really give Iverson the edge in that scoring category when you look at it in that manner. Curry's far more efficient. He needs fewer shots to get there. Curry doesn't turn the ball over much. Again, when you look at it from that aspect, who is the better scorer? All right, especially in the playoffs. In the playoffs, I'm going to take the guy that's giving me 26 points and fewer turnovers and takes fewer shots. I can move the ball around. I'm not so one-dimensional. Our team is not so easy to guard. I think what Iverson did was Iverson was so much so of a scorer, it took away from other people's ability to score the ball. When he played with the Philadelphia 76ers, I feel like Aaron McKee was a solid scorer. I think he could have scored the ball a little bit better if Iverson was willing to give the ball up a little bit more and allow McKee to play his game. When I talk about guys like George Lynch was an underrated scorer on that team. All right, he had a very, very good isolation game. All right, in the mid-range and low post area. I mean, allow him to develop and play his game, maybe score a few less points, and maybe you're looking at a different outcome right there. But you have to be able to make guys better. And I think with Iverson, there's no point in time, there's no player where I can really pinpoint and say Iverson made that player better. All right, as opposed to Steph Curry, I can look at Steph Curry. I know Steph Curry has helped mold and make Draymond Green into one of the elite power forwards. He's helped mold and create spacing for Klay Thompson and helped him evolve into one of the best shooters of all time. I think great players help other great players. When KD came on board, I think one of the greatest and most humble moves that Steph Curry ever made was, you know what? He said, I'm going to defer. Even though I'm the MVP, I know you're the better player. I'm going to defer to you and allow you to be the best player on this team because I know with you, we can win championships. You know, Iverson played with Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony was the younger superstar, more primed to take over the league. Could you guys imagine how lethal that Denver team could have been if Iverson said, I'm going to fall back and I'll defer to you, Carmelo Anthony, and allow you to take and lead this team. I'll do some of the other stuff. I'll tune up my defense. I'll become more of a playmaker. Imagine how lethal that team could have been. So having the IQ of the game, being able to humble yourself and make your other teammates better, I have to give the edge to Steph Curry on that. All right. Obviously, we got total points again. That's irrelevant in the playoffs. I like to look at your percentages in the playoffs. Steph Curry shoots about 45% in the playoffs. Allen Iverson, again, with far less threes, Shooting mid-range shots and layups, only 40%. All right, so that means you're a high-volume scorer, not as efficient. Three-point line, Steph is still shooting 40% from the three-point line in the playoffs. Iverson only 32, which is a very poor percentage in the NBA. And again, Iverson's free throw shooting dropped in the playoffs to 76%. Steph Curry stayed the same at 90%. So when we look at their best playoff performances in 2015, Steph Curry championship season 2080 game, Iverson 32, where they made the NBA Finals. They both looked dominant in those seasons. Both looked dominant. Iverson in 05, 10 assists a game in the playoffs. A crazy number for Iverson right there. Crazy number for Iverson. Steph Curry 8.4 and 04-14. Steals per game, that's going to be a wash. Really hard to measure defense with these two. And blocks per game, obviously, that's a wash statistic as well. So when we look at all these stats right here, when we look at all these stats, you know, everybody's going to have their opinions when you look at these stats. Everybody's going to say, well, I like this stat. I like that stat. Well, I watched Iverson play, so I know. All right. But the goal of playing in the NBA, when you play in the NBA, you play to ultimately have a lot of team success and give your chance as many potential chances to win a championship as possible. When I look at some of the teams that Iverson was on, I can easily say that a lot of the teams that he played on definitely underachieved in the playoffs. All right, when you have a team in Denver where you have the number 1 and 2 scorers in the NBA and you don't move past the first round, I have to look at the 2 best players on that team and say, what went wrong here? Is it culture? Is it chemistry? Was the other team just that much better? How do you have the 2 top scorers in the NBA and you can't get out of the first round? All right? Do I just blame Carmelo or do I blame the bench players? Like who do I blame? All right. At the end of the day, I gotta blame the 2 stars of that team. And today we're talking about Allen Iverson. I have to hold him accountable for that. So when we talk about what separates these 2 right here, what separates them? And I think the key point that separates these 2 is what is your impact? What is your impact on your team having success or not? All right, what is your impact? And I think the only metric, the only stat that can account for a player's individual impact on any given team with regards to winning. Now, that I'm not saying winning championships, I'm talking about winning. Because when you're playing 5-on-5 basketball, to have all of these skills, it doesn't mean anything if you can't win. And if you don't individually have an extremely large impact on winning. So there's an analytic, there's one, and it's the most important analytic that you can measure that determines a player's impact on winning. And that's win shares. So what we need to do is we need to look at these players' all-time win shares. Where do they rank? To get a better indication of how impactful what they did on the court actually was and how it translated into winning. Because that's the goal of playing basketball. What we're going to do is we're going to get over here to this stat right here. We're going to get over here and we're going to pull up the win shares for each player. All right, so when we look at win shares, and win shares goes hand in hand with another analytic called value over replacement. We look at win shares. Obviously, when we look at the top, a guy like Michael Jordan, obviously one of the greatest winners of all time. We saw what Michael Jordan did on the court, his dominance. We saw how his dominance translated into winning. You know, high usage rate and everything he did translated into that team's success. All right, same with David Robinson. David Robinson, you know, he didn't get a championship till later on in his career when they got Tim Duncan. But at the end of the day, he was right behind Michael Jordan in win shares because what he did for that San Antonio Spurs team throughout his career was invaluable. It had a direct impact on that team's success night in and night out. Same with Wilt Chamberlain. We see Chris Paul following it up there. We have LeBron James on this list, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Harden, Magic Johnson. I mean, this list is filled with some of the greatest players of all time that we see. But we're only talking about 2 players today. We're talking about Allen Iverson, and we're talking about Steph Curry. Where do these 2 players fall on this list? All right. And when we scroll down, we got Steph Curry at 20. All right. Steph Curry at 20 on this list. So out of all of the players in NBA history to play the game of basketball, Steph Curry ranks 20 in the NBA for all-time win shares per 48 minutes. He ranks 20th on this list. He ranks ahead of players like Karl Malone, Larry Bird, Dirk Nowitzki, Bill Russell, Paul Azarin, Sam Jones, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin McHale, Moses Malone, Dr. J. Steph Curry ranks ahead of all of these players when it comes to his impact on winning games, what he does for the Golden State Warriors. He ranks ahead of some of the greatest that we've ever seen in NBA history. And like I said, I can go down this list. He ranks ahead of Hakeem, Reggie Miller, Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Kobe Bryant. Ranking, that's, a lot of people would not assume that Kobe was this low on the list. It's very surprising. What we need to see next is, where does Allen Iverson rank and fall on this list with all-time NBA win shares per 48 minute? With regards to what Allen Iverson did, how impactful were his stats on his team actually winning? All right. That's what we need to go to right here. Let's find Allen Iverson on this list. All right. And as we scroll down, and it took a while to scroll down, as you guys can see, Allen Iverson falls at 217th all time with NBA win shares. All right. With players like Bill Cartwright, Wally Zerbiak, Tree Rollins, and Corey Maggette ranking ahead of him. And again, I think this stat right here, if you're a big time fan of Allen Iverson, this is a stat that you don't want to see, because Allen Iverson did so much on the NBA basketball court that we want to love. But at the end of the day, for all of the things that he did great on the NBA basketball court, what did it never amount to? It never amounted to winning, especially in the playoffs. In 2001, when Allen Iverson was MVP of the league, he had the lowest win share percentage of any MVP in history at that time. The lowest win share percentage in NBA history. He was the NBA MVP. And out of all the MVPs of the league at that time, he had the lowest win share percentage of them all. That means something right there. And again, there's not too many analytics that really accentuate on your individual impact on an actual team. There's not too many. And for some players, their win share percentage can be affected. Because towards the end of their careers, they may be relegated to a bench role. They may not get as many opportunities. They may not be the prime or go-to guy on the team. Their roles change. Iverson, for the duration of his 13-year career, Allen Iverson was the number one guy on this team. Allen Iverson was the go-to scorer. But those numbers never translated into not just winning. Because again, I give you credit for putting your team in a situation where you have an opportunity to win. Just get to the Eastern or Western Conference Finals. Just get to the NBA Finals. Again, we have eyes. If you're faced with an insurmountable matchup, if you're facing Shaq and Kobe, and we know that you're probably gonna lose because you're just completely overmatched. The one thing that we can say is, especially at that time, Allen Iverson played in a much weaker Eastern Conference. He played in a much weaker Eastern Conference. and he struggled time and time again to get out of that much weaker NBA Eastern Conference, as opposed to Steph Curry, who played in the gauntlet in the West. And he was able to time and time again land his team in the NBA Finals. All right. Now we can harp on the fact that he had some good players. But one thing that I can tell you right here is this. I don't know if Klay Thompson is Klay Thompson if Steph Curry doesn't evolve into the player that he is. I don't know if Draymond Green is a Hall of Fame caliber player if Steph Curry doesn't evolve into the player that he is. I don't know if we look at Kevin Durant the same. If he isn't able to go to Golden State, play, join another superstar who's willing to humble himself and then actually win championships there, and now his career output looks a little bit different because of how we judge players who either win or don't win championships. And that's what I wanted to look at. So just based on everything that we went over today, based on the stats, based on the positives and negatives of each player, I have to give the edge to Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greater guard of the two, primarily because he gives you essentially the same statistical output. All right, for as great of a scorer as Allen Iverson is, he's only scoring 3 more points a game than Steph Curry. It's not like we're talking a humongous margin. But Steph Curry is essentially putting up the exact same numbers as Allen Iverson in a more diversified manner that also makes his teammates much better. It is unfortunate that Allen Iverson at no point in time in his career was able to accentuate the skills of his players so much so that these guys are, could Iverson have deferred enough to allow Andre Iguodala to be a Finals MVP? I don't think so. And I think with Iverson, if this is a cultural battle, Iverson wins the culture war. Iverson changed the culture. He changed, bringing the hip hop flavor to the game, bringing style to the game, swag to the game, doing things his way. Iverson wins that. But as I said early on in this video, we got to stick to basketball. So as fans, especially you guys, 90s fans carrying on into the early 2000s, it's easy to become a fan. And you see Iverson's cultural impact. And you become a fan of his cultural impact. And you forget about the game itself. With regards to Steph Curry's that guy who goes home to his wife and kids every night, doesn't go out, doesn't party. He's not wearing the flashy jewelry. All right. But he's just as effective. Even more lethal. He's more lethal of an offensive weapon because he can do it from the 3-point line. He can take you to the basket and score at the rim. We watched how he developed his game. He stopped taking those mid-range shots and said, either you're going to guard me out here on beyond the 3-point line, or I'm taking you straight to the rim. These are the things that Steph Curry did. This is why I have him over a player like Allen Iverson, right? Because he ultimately did things on the court that not just accentuated his individual talent, but gave his team a better opportunity at winning. It was much easier to build a team around Steph Curry than it is around Allen Iverson, and that shows in the results. So again, we're going to be transitioning into our live stream as soon as this video ends. I really want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think about this right here, because again, it can be controversial. But if you are a fan of Iverson, take the fan cap off and take the cultural implications that he had on the black community, take that away, and actually look at the games, look at the numbers, look at the analytics, and do they actually compare to a guy like Steph Curry? I don't think they do. And again, if you get caught up in the highlights, if you get caught up in the fanfare, if you get caught up in the era, if you get caught up in the nostalgia, it's so much easier to pick a guy like Allen Iverson. But at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't. And Steph Curry's numbers, again, are just far superior to Iverson's with regards when you take into the fact the efficiency and how he made his teammates much better. And this is why Steph Curry is a 3-time NBA champion. And this is why Allen Iverson doesn't have any. Facts are the facts, y'all. Hey, it's FYF Sports, man. It's been another great video. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys smash the like, comment, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. We're going to be coming back. We're going to be doing these player comparisons more and more this year. All right. But I want you guys, hit me up in the comments. Let me know who you want to see next. Do you want to see the battle of the big man? Do I need to do Shaq and Bill Russell? Do I need to do Shaq and Wilt? All right. Do I need to talk about some of the most overrated big men of all time? Hakeem Olajuwon. All right. You know, who do we need? Who should we be talking about? You know, do I need to do a recap on Pete Maravich? Rest in peace. You know, you guys let me know who you want to hear about. Player comparison, just a player review. All right. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to be doing more FanDuel videos where you guys help select the lineup. All right, for the next day. We're going to try to go for it all and win some money for the channel. Maybe put some money in your pockets as well if we can win it all. All right. But hey, it's a lot of new things coming for this channel. A lot of big time changes. All right. We got our first sponsor. Again, you know how we joked about it the first month of our show, first 2 months of our show. And we finally got our first major sponsor with MANSCAPED. So again, MANSCAPED.com. And again, even though it's a sponsor, these are products that I've tried and tested. These products actually are beneficial. This is no joke. These products actually work. The Lawnmower 3.0 is probably one of the best grooming tools a man could have. And hey, women out there, the Lawnmower 3.0 works for you as well. You can snatch it. You know, if you need a quick trim up, snatch your man's Lawnmower 3.0 or buy one yourself from Manscaped.com. All right, I guarantee you'll be throwing those razors in the trash can once you use the Lawnmower 3.0. Best thing, women, we know you love to shave in the shower. It's waterproof. Men, it's waterproof. Let it go right down the drain. No fuss. Nobody needs to know. Clean yourself up. Let's change the look up for 2020. Manscaped.com. Use the code FYF Crew. FYF Crew. All right, you guys see it. It's going to be in the link in the description of the video. Make sure you use that code to go to manscaped.com for 20% off your order and free shipping. All right, 20% off your order and free shipping. No excuse why everybody here should not have a Lawnmower 3.0. All right, order your products. The ball deodorant is great. All right, the spritz spray for your balls, perfect. When you leave in the gym, you need to freshen up. You don't want to walk into Walmart or smelling crazy. Leave this stuff, put it in your car. All right, freshen up. Be ready for whenever any moment strikes. But it's FYF Sports, man. It's been a great podcast episode, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this player review. We're going to be transitioning to the live stream as soon as this video is over. I look forward to hearing everything that you guys have to say about this particular matchup right here. And we're going to chop it up in the live stream. But hey, until we get to the live stream, it's FYF Sports. And we out.
Out in the morning, try and get to it, I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off, I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat, I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full, I'm a road runner. Out in the morning, try and get to it, I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off, I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat, I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full, I'm a road runner. Can't set a weight, gotta get to it. Plug throwing loads, always run through them. Ain't talking money, I'ma ignore them. Stack money, check my stats, I perform. Road running, switching states like I'm torn. Everything foreign, hopping out foreigns. Always been awkward, never did the norm. Bippin' try and win, then I go record. Ain't taking breaks, gotta get it all quick. Doing pickup, drop offs like live. Listen, now my game plan to get rich. Shooters on deck, know the haters set. Face high stakes, came through in the clutch. Put on work, never thought giving up. Run up wrong, then my shooters gon' bust. Risk it all, that's why I got drug my nuts. Ayy, got money rolling, pockets swollen. diamonds frozen, we bring them hoes in. Money rolling, my pockets swollen. My diamonds frozen, we bring them hoes in. Out in the morning trying to get to it, I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get them off, I'm a road runner. Been took the risk cause I gotta eat, I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full, I'm a road runner. Out in the morning trying to get to it, I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get them off, I'm a road runner. Been took the risk cause I gotta eat, I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full, I'm a road runner. Don't get attitudes, I catch altitude flights every week, trying to stick and move. And rentals with the pecs, fucking with the crew. Only up from here, I don't think I'll lose. 1,000 on the bags and the vacuum seals. Won't know I got it when it's vacuum sealed. Ride with it all day, tryna flip and pill. Young go getter like taking milk. Want some shit with Vontae, slick and trill. Tell you about them long nights in the field. Plug chose me off the trust we built. Gotta keep it on me, I ain't tryna get killed. Stack the honey bun cause I'm a road runner. Switching lanes, I be road running. Taking risks, all I know is hustling. Week after week, lows coming. Do what I want, I stay stunting. Never going broke, fuck struggling. Was down bad, I know the struggle. Ain't gotta spin to get it on the muscle. Found a way to get my bands up. Gotta flow, watch it count up. Ain't gotta be around and watch it add up. Perkin' lean in me, bet I wear out. Out in the morning trying to get to it, I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get them off, I'm a road runner. Been took the risk cause I gotta eat, I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full, I'm a road runner. Out in the morning trying to get to it, I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get them off, I'm a road runner. Been took the risk cause I gotta eat, I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full, I'm a road runner.